I think I'm live. Sorry, got a little sidetracked. Welcome, welcome. And we are doing Witchy Book Club. Oh, I need to switch this so you can, right? Yes, okay. So I'm doing The Spiral Dance by Starhawk, and we are doing a chapter a week every Sunday and diving deep into the book. I have questions that we'll go over, and if you're new and this is like completely new, basically we're reading the book, doing book discussion on Sunday, and you are welcome to actually join my Patreon at the $5 level or above. You get the deep dive. So wink, wink. So, but yes, tonight we are, you get the deep dive. So wink, wink. So, but yes, tonight we are literally excited to use this. So if you're new here, please make sure you give hearts, especially if you just found me. And if you've been here before, thank you so much. I would love to get the hearts. Last week we got about 10,000 hearts. So I would love to get 10,000 again this week. That will help bump me up. So, all right. I'm going to just share this with a few. Bump me up. So, all right. I'm going to just share this with a few. And then I'm going to turn mirror off because there we go. Because I don't need it on the whole entire time. All right. So The Spiral Dance is a rebirth of the ancient religion of the great goddess, written by Starhawk. She is a practicing witch, and she does practice the fairy tradition. So she does give you a lot about the fairy tradition. So if that's something that you're interested in, well, like Starhawk has amazing books out there. So I can't say anything other than she's a definitely pick up and read more than just The Spiral Dance, especially if you get The Spiral Dance. As I read parts of it out loud, it's just so poetic. So it's just beautiful. She writes really well. I think I own most of her books, if not all of them. So, yes, she's definitely one to jump on and read. And here comes Bren.
Here.
Wow. Can you believe it's almost July?
I can't believe it. And I mean, time flies, especially because I'm kind of. It just feels so funny for me to say this again, but I'm already like working on my next work already, the next thing I'm going to self-publish. And I'm just going to turn my camera on just to share what it looks like so far and what it's going to be about.
And I'm just going to throw this out there. Bren is so talented. Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Queen Jezebel, the Maven Queen of Compusus. I can't pronounce that word, but I was using my thesaurus to think I really want a stronger word to describe her, and that's what I came up with. But yeah, and that's the title page of it so far. Everything else I'm still working on.
It's funny. So I have over 6,000 books.
Mm-hmm.
And I've donated some to Goodwill. I know my husband's like, "Are you going to die now? He's like, oops, I can't say that word. He's like, "Are you going to survive?" And I'm like, I'll be okay. One of them was my paper thesaurus from when I went away to college. We'll just say last century. I'm like, I don't need it now because now it's online.
Yep.
But yes, it's funny.
And let's see. Can you guess what flower that is?
That is the blue lotus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm actually almost out of blue lotus tea, and I'm like, okay, I'll wait till we get to our next destination. But yes, I love blue lotus tea, especially right before a meditation.
Oh yeah, you mix that along with jasmine leaf. Oh,
Oh, I haven't done it with jasmine. I've mixed it with rose and I've mixed it with lavender.
oh that's
Both
so.
was really good. I'm like, oh my gosh, like somebody had like shared a recipe. They said they'd put culinary lavender on their chicken. My husband did not like it, but now I have to make one for me with lavender on it and one for him without. Because it just has like, but it's a taste that you're either going to like it or you're not.
Hmm.
Because my husband was like, I'm surprised you actually like it. And I'm like, I do, but I'd been drinking the tea for a while. So
Yeah, you get used to that taste.
yeah. Yeah. It's not like drinking mugwort tea. Mugwort tea is literally like drinking dirt. So
Yeah. Well, you know what they say by stereotype: if it tastes bad, if it don't taste good, it must be good for your system somehow.
yes. Yes. Actually, when my husband and I got COVID, so before we got COVID, like there was nothing in the store. I remember the weekend before the stay home order that went into effect in the United States, we were out of groceries. We like would go to the grocery store every like Saturday morning or Sunday morning, and we were totally out of groceries. We got like a bottle of wine, 2 pounds of bacon, and dented bean cans. There was nothing else. And I drove all over. I ended up going to Ace Hardware to get toilet paper. So, like, they were the only ones that had toilet paper. After like something like 90 stores, I was like, wait, Ace Hardware, I tried there.
It's just so amazing how, and also the very ironic part about those people that really did buy up all the toilet paper and all of those essentials. When they attempted to try and resell all that, they got in big trouble because if you're reselling, you have to file with your taxes and all that. You had to get your tax card. You have to even do the right amount of percentage depending on what state you're in. But they weren't doing that. Uh oh.
Yeah, I think it was my brother. He told me one of their neighbors, like their cars aren't in their garage anymore because the garage is full of toilet paper. And I'm like, they aren't going to need toilet paper like for centuries because it's a two-car garage full of toilet paper.
And the funny thing is that some stores, if I remember correctly, they even said you can't return all that toilet paper because you purchased all of it. You can't resell it. Now you're stuck with it.
Yep. Yeah, and then they limited it.
Hmm.
Like when I got to Ace, they didn't limit it yet. So I bought like because they only had 4 packs, so I bought 2 4 packs because I was like, okay, are we gonna, like we don't stock up on that stuff at my house. My husband's European; they don't do that in Europe, so it's like a weird thing for him. And I always had like a backup for if like so if it happened in the middle of the week and I didn't want to go to the grocery store. But yeah, but where I was going is I was like there was no aspirin and I would occasionally get migraines. I couldn't even get Excedrin and I was like, okay. So I was like, all right, got to dive deep and I was like, all right, if we get COVID, what herbs would be good? So I was looking up well, I'd had bronchitis before, so I put my bronchitis herbs, I put pneumonia herbs, like all this stuff that can affect like RSV and everything. And yeah, when we were sick, mugwort, it was mugwort, peppermint. I did put wintergreen.
Oregano is really a good one because oregano is anti everything.
Well, we threw basil in there.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
Um, so mugwort, basil, peppermint, wintergreen. Oh, chamomile, lavender.
Oh yes, chamomile. I love chamomile.
I do too.
It's a
And
little.
then
It's a little. I like to call it the little flowering physician. Wherever it goes around, it's like, okay, I'll help you get better, help you raise better. That's
yes,
why.
and then
That's why
oh
with chamomile, I even tell people like whenever you're doing any kind of work that involves herbs and whatnot, always put chamomile with it because it'll enhance the herbs that it's with.
it totally does. Yeah, I use chamomile all the time. And then I used Patty Arco. So Patty Arco and Mugwort tastes like dirt. I mean, it literally tastes like both taste like dirt. But Padiarco is really good. I have like when I started getting into herbs, I was like a teenager, barely a teenager. But one of my mother's really good friends, she had two of her kids were allergic to antibiotics and penicillin. So when they would get like strep throat, she had to substitute, and Padiarco was always the go-to. So I was like, you know what, we're going to throw some Padiarco in there. And then just because we needed some flavor, we added hibiscus. So it
Oh, hibiscus. I love that flower. It's a really lively, bang flower.
so it gave it so between the lavender, the peppermint, and the hibiscus, it did give a better flavor. So I had to like kind of add a little extra of that, but it was really nice though because it actually really helped a lot. Because like I remember our coughs were hurting, and then I mixed those all together, and the cough, like we would drink it, and it was like it really helped. So I was like, yeah, you guys take your ibuprofen and you stocked up on, and
Yeah, you take your ibuprofen, you get holes in your stomach. Well, I'm over here enjoying this nice, little bit dirt tasting tea, but nah.
exactly. Yeah, so I literally, my husband calls it dirt tea. So I have a bag of it still because like I mix it. If we get sick, I mix it up, and that we have dirt tea. So yeah, so always one blessing to being attracted to herbs, you could say. I digress, though. Thank you, everybody who's joining. We do Witchy Book Club every Sunday. Our next book after Spiral Dance, so we're like 4 chapters in. So it'll be eight more weeks next week of this book, and then we'll be jumping into Bren's book. Oh, I do have it backwards and upside down. There we go. Nyx. So please go to Bren's bio if you would like to get this book, and definitely order it from him. As we get closer, Bren and I will talk about, it might be, I don't know, Bren, do you think 2 weeks to go over it? Because I want to make sure we like dive deep too.
Yeah, I think that probably would be good because the first half of it is about the mythological references, and then it goes into understanding her, and then also how to approach. And then after that's all the correspondences, and that way it's just like a nice cut down the middle.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. That's how we'll divide it. Look at that. See, you all were here. You're all ready. Now you just need to go order your book from Bren.
You'll be needing it for the test. No.
No. The test that will pass you on. So make sure you're following us. So we're going to dive deep into chapter 4 of The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. I did switch the mirror back because like I'm always not on mirror. So when I put mirror up, it's like freaks me out because I always like lean my head like this way, and then it's lean the other way, and I'm like, ah. I know that sounds so weird, but yes. All right. So this chapter is on creating a sacred space. And I think this is an important chapter. I also kind of want to point out that there are so many ways, like there's 16 different ways to call in the guardians of the watchtowers. So I don't call mine the same way Starhawk calls hers. I don't know. Bren, do you call yours the same way?
Well, now depending on, because for me, in order to learn Vedic astrology, I had to learn a little bit of Vastu. And Vastu Shastra is essentially balancing the elements in the home and going along with the directions and having certain things in a certain way. Whenever I'm doing Vastu Shastra, that is precisely kind of the way that I kind of incorporate that guardian stuff. And those specific rulers of those directions are known as the Ashtavasus. And these Ashtavasus are like specific elements that are like, for an example, there is the moon. Moon's actually an element in the Vastu Shastra. Then there's all these other specific directions like north, south, east, west, northwest, southwest, northeast, southeast. But then there's northeast, north, southeast, south, southwest, south, and then there's northwest, south. So there's like those little specifics, but when whenever I do that, of course, there's like certain things that have to be like said, and then the certain things have to be all balanced out and all that stuff. But it's really intricate, and it does require like having a floor plan. But for me, most of the time, whenever I do any kind of working and the whatnot, I primarily, when it comes to like working and stuff, I like to use the directions to kind of like match that certain working while facing and working in that direction. Just to add a little bit of more oomph to it.
I do that too. And I do my directions based off traditional witchcraft, and I base it off Gemma Gary out of Cornwall, England. So, because traditional witchcraft can also, like, there's a lot of people in the traditional path that call their elements differently. So I just want to kind of start that out, is that, Starhawk calls hers, air is east, south is fire, west is water, and north is earth. So I do mine a little bit different. And I know, like, that was one thing when I started actually studying and decided to jump in and become pagan and become a witch. That was one of the first things that really annoyed me was every book I picked up, the elements were called differently. And I was like, this is giving me, like, making me dizzy. And that was when I realized, you know what? This is not like you have to do everything this way. And that was really nice, because I was like, oh, good. It's not like excessively structured. Like, there's a structure to it, but it's a beautiful, organized chaos. So you get to do what resonates with you. So I do want to kind of point out, whenever you have a witchcraft book, a pagan book, and like there's a ritual in there and you're like, oh, I want to do this ritual, I don't call on the guardians the same way, or I don't believe in the threefold law. The threefold laws in this ritual, you can tweak them to fit your needs, or you can write your own. So always keep that in mind. I know some people I've met, they're like, oh, I only go by what's in the books, and it's okay to tweak them. So keep that in mind. It's not, nothing is set in stone, which is really nice. You get to connect to your spiritual path and your spiritual thoughts, and you don't have to conform to anybody else's. So, and even for me, because I really love the witches out of Cornwall, England, they all have contributed a lot. And there's some amazing witches out there. And it also follows my ancestral magic. So I really wanted to follow that too. And I switch things, and even witches in Cornwall do things differently. One witch may do it one way and one witch will do it another way. And so definitely do what resonates with you. You don't need, but we can learn. That's the important thing, is we're learning this infinite wisdom. And you may like do it one way, and then you may like connect with a specific goddess or god, and then you may be like, oh, I'm not supposed to do it the way I've been doing it. I need to do it this different way. And so keep that in mind too. Just be open, because your spiritual path is going to grow and evolve and change as you grow and evolve and change. But the one thing we all have in common is we create a sacred space. And that's really, I think, the most important thing from this chapter. Anything you want to add before we jump into the questions, Bren?
Let's see here. With a sacred space, it doesn't always have to be physical either. And if you're able to really like grow that muscle of like visualization, you can take your sacred space with you, and it's in your head. And the best part, nobody can mess that up. No one.
Yeah, I do that when I meditate. All my meditations are, I don't do a full circle. I literally do it in my head in visualization. Visualization is a really important tool. Thank you, Bren.
And even on top of that, also if you're really adept, when you do a working on the physical 3D, you then repeat the same working in the visualization in that other sacred space. Now you're taking that working, you're adding it on the physical, then on the mental and the imaginative. So it's like you're doubling that working at the same time. More you know.
Yep. The more you know. That's one thing that's so beautiful, like, um, because now, like, I bet witches during the burning times would be like, wow, this is so opposite of what we have, because they had to practice in silence and secrecy. And we can actually be out in the open, because it is a spiritual path. So we can learn and grow a lot. And a lot has been lost over the centuries because of the burning times.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're going to dive into the questions for the book. And I'm sure we're going to veer off of the book a little bit because we do have our practices. But, I'm going to make sure we kind of concentrate on it, on the book a little bit. So, but we do have some great, wonderful discussions. And this is a live panel. So if you did read the book and you want to come up and add, please request. And if you don't feel comfortable coming up, please feel free to put your comments in the chat, and we're going to try to make sure we check that as it's going. All right. So the first question for chapter 4, creating a sacred space, is what does casting a circle in a ritual signify according to the text, or according to Starhawk? So Brent, I'll let you kind of start.
Okay, now here's the thing. At least for me. Now again, this is just moi. Whenever you cast a circle, what you're doing is you're making the area that you're, where you're in, become completely cut off and separate from anything else that is exterior. A good way to look at it's like when you make that circle, and then when you give it that declaration of it existing, it's like you're making a big giant dome that is protecting you energetically. But there's something else here. What about the physical? I mean, if the wind's blowing, isn't that going to make it like go away and whatever? No, because once you establish it, even if like the salt circle goes to the wind, it's still there. It's still declared, and all that salt is being around there is just the physical representation to help you be guided into making that entire circle become grounded and tangible. The only time when it comes off is when it is closed and declared released. So nature can come in and just go, but that circle is still there, and it's energetic, not physical.
Yeah. And it really is. I had one night, I was doing a working to the goddess Hecate, and it said it was going to be a clear night, and I waited for the sun to go down. I went out, set up my altar, and then I'm feeling a little bit of raindrops. I'm like, nope, I'm doing this outside. I'm not doing it inside. And as soon as I cast, it was like it did not rain within the circle. As amazing as that is, as soon as I shut the circle down, as soon as I closed it, I got poured on. But while I was doing ritual, nope. And I could tell it was still raining, but it was not raining on me. So, there's magic.
When you focus that hard and while doing that working and just staying in tune, you'll be quite surprised how nature responds.
Yes. Yes, it definitely. Yes, nature is our friend, especially when we connect with it. I'll do casting a circle or casting a compass. I don't use them interchangeably because they are completely different. There's a lot of similarities, but there are differences. But they both create that sacred space where you can raise energy. And that's the important thing, especially when you're doing like a group or even by yourself. And that energy is just focused so that you can put it in your working. So if you're like, oh, I have all this bad luck, you can shift it to good luck, and you've got to get that energy, and you got to get that energy built up and going. And that's how you do it. You create that sacred space. So Starhawk, kind of in a nutshell, says, casting a circle signifies the creation of sacred space, a boundary that exists between worlds of the seen and unseen. It allows participants to transcend ordinary constraints of time and space, enabling them to connect with their higher power and their inner selves. I think the one thing I do want to add is a lot of times, like I'll start and I'll tell my, like my spirit guides, hey, if you want to come join me, and I'll tell the spirits a place, if you want to come join me, and I'll feel them come join, not necessarily as I start, but sometimes like right after I've started. And that's kind of like, that's the nice thing is that we do have, when she talks about between worlds, there is that connection between the worlds when we create that sacred space. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Bren.
Yes, and like even more to add on, like for me when I see the circle, because now one thing, because one of the practices that I've done is the working with the goetic spirits. Now, for me, now don't get me wrong, I can understand having a specific circle casted for that, but for me, the way that I perceive that is like, okay, so I'm already making it known to whichever spirit I'm inviting in that it's a threat, and I have to have a circle to protect me. Now, why in the heck am I going to invite an entity to come towards me, and then put a protective thing around me, and then it's going to make it assume that, oh, you're just perceiving me as a threat? So then why the heck you call me? And that's why, me personally, I don't like seeing specific things like that. And besides, if you're going to be reaching out to any spirit for that matter, you should be able to understand how to know your foundation, what you'll accept, what you won't accept, and how to keep control of the situation, and how to speak in a manner where the spirit understands that everything has to be on a equal level and nobody is subservient to the other, and everybody between the two are able to work in unison as a unit, rather than one get intimidated and having to do whatever the other one says, which is not how this is supposed to go.
That's why I like casting compasses, because the compass allows the spirits to cross, because it creates that boundary, but it's a safe boundary, and you don't have to draw the doorway. She does talk about drawing the doorways, and I have been at rituals that have been big enough that we've had to have it because people have had to go to the restroom and stuff. Because when you get a lot of people in ritual, it never fails. Something happens. So when you have smaller ones, usually it's not such a big deal, but the bigger ones, you can have a ritual that will go for 5 hours because of how many people are there. So actual compass, or the look of a chaos star. It's literally like casting the compass is just like casting a circle. So it is a circle, and you go clockwise or counterclockwise depending upon what kind of working you're doing. So yeah, but it's making a circle. We just call it's just called a compass from most of the witches in Cornwall. I'm not going to say all of them because some of them don't call it casting a compass, but some of them do. So yeah, it's the same thing as that. But yes, and sometimes people do make shapes. So I'm glad you brought that up, Chaos, because some people do make shapes with their sacred container. And I'm going to say sacred container. I did have a teacher who actually called, when she would create the working space, she did call it a sacred container instead of calling it a circle or a compass. And I think that we will hear different things. Well, your tools. So you'll have your tools set in. So the question is, so just a circle, but nothing else inside the circle. Whoever's doing ritual and the tools that you'll be using. So like sometimes like I'll have a cauldron. Well, I usually always have a cauldron. Who am I kidding? Like you'll have a cauldron inside. You might have your athame. I've had where like I've actually had where I have forgotten a lighter, and I'm like, well, guess what? We're not taking the water and the earth in there either. So we're just going to draw it in the ground. So, as in not how the movies put a star inside. No, I've never done a star inside the circle. Brent, have you?
Well, even then too, a good thing to remember is that things that are done like in the movies and like romanticized like that, that's usually mainly like stereotypical things that are usually seen by Hollywood to make everybody go woo, but no.
Yeah.
And even another thing of this might be a little advanced, but I mean, who doesn't like hearing about advanced stuff? There is a way. What you can do, you can actually link two sacred spaces together into one. It's very difficult, but what you do is you take. Okay, let's see. I'm trying to remember exactly how it was done. You make on a piece of paper. You draw those two spaces, those two circles, and then you link them together. And what you're able to do with that is that those two spaces you linked, even if you don't even have them up currently, you can have one be made of like a simple sigil. Then you keep that on you, and then you're able to then have the actual sacred space, like say on the tangible, where it's set. You can link that sacred space to you wherever you go, and that way you can send out energy to it. You can bring in energy that's within it, and that's usually. I mean, if you even want to get even more fancy with it, you can even go with the route that's using the one on the mental to better connect to the one on the physical. I mean, the possibilities are endless. The only thing that'll inhibit you is your head. That's it.
Yep. Yeah. So and yet there's like some movies, like when you watch some of the witchy movies, sometimes there'll be things that are close to accurate, but not 100% accurate. Like belladonna, some witches won't even touch it because it is a poisonous plant. You do need to know how to work with it. And I actually work with the poison path, and I have a lot of teachers that have been teaching me that have worked the poison path. So I make candles with it. I make flying ointment with it. So I actually make stuff with belladonna. But when we look at practical magic, if what they had were putting in the beverage that they were feeding the boyfriend, because you see Nicole Kidman do that once, and then you see Sandra Bullock's character do it. The amount they put in the first time, if that had been belladonna, that would have unalived whoever drank it. And belladonna doesn't look like that. That actually looks to me like they were putting poppy seeds. Belladonna doesn't look like that. But belladonna is an herb. And yes, cottage witches, the wise women through centuries have used it because it is a sedative. Actually, our narcotic pain medication has belladonna in it. That's what makes you tired, is the belladonna. But you have to know how much to use, because if you do use too much, it can shut your organs down. So,
And I think that's also why belladonna also has a specific name called like something the
and a lively nightshade.
yeah, but it's just like I can't remember exactly what it is, but it was called something like the night lady or something like that. But
Yeah, there's a lot of different names. Scott Cunningham actually in his book gives a lot of the different names that are used.
But yeah, poppy seed I know for a fact kind of does also have somewhat of that effect, but it's not as over the top as belladonna. But
Belladonna. Yeah, you would have to have like the amount of poppy seed compared to the amount of belladonna. Like you would have to have so much poppy seed where you don't have to have as much belladonna. As a matter of fact, when I was trying to grow belladonna, it wasn't successful last year. I'll try it again next year. But my husband was so nervous because belladonna has to be put in the fridge or the freezer. The seeds do. And before you can germinate them. And he was freaking out because he's like, they're dangerous. You have them in our fridge by our food. I'm like, it's not that dangerous.
It's not like it's oleander where, you just touch her once and you might be like, oh no, without any gloves on.
That's henbane.
Yeah. Oh, henbane.
Or wolfbane. Henbane or wolfbane. Those ones, like, see, and that surprises me because, like, when we talk about that, like, you think about it, like wolfbane was used by the Germanic tribes and the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And how did they harvest it? Because every part of that plant is so unalively. That's like not even a word. We have to make up words for TikTok. Like if you touch it, it is so extremely poisonous. So it's like, how did they do that to get it on? Because they would put it on, like their spears and their arrowhead type things and stuff. And it's like, but then if you're using it to unalive an animal for food, how are you not ingesting that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so there's a lot that we don't know, a lot that's been lost over the centuries. Now, do I want to play with wolfbane? Probably.
No, I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, that one I wouldn't know, and henbane is the same thing. As a matter of fact, I was marrying a couple and their little kids were running around in the forest and then they started picking flowers. Well, Queen Anne's lace looks like henbane.
Oh.
And I'm like, drop it, because from far away I couldn't tell which one it was.
Uh-huh.
And the mom, because they were the mom's bio kids, so the soon to be stepdad and is looking at me and I'm like, that, because it does grow in Illinois, and I'm like, it might be henbane. And they were like, oh, because they were just tromping off in the woods and where we were. Yeah, luckily it was Queen Anne's lace.
Oh, well, yeah.
But I don't think those little girls are ever going to pick up white flowers again. Because I was like, oh, because I'm like, they're little, and I'm like, it's deadly, or it's unalively to adults. So, like little ones that are like 10 years old, that's pretty scary. So, yeah. And I mean, I was trying to be calm, but I'm like, drop the flowers.
Put it down.
And then I walked over, I'm like, oh, it's Queen Anne's lace. And the mom's like, what? And I'm like, you do know henbane grows around here and it looks very similar to Queen Anne's lace. And she was like, oh. And so then they pulled out phones and they started looking, and yeah, it's the only difference is literally the leaves. That from far away, you can't see the leaves. All you see is the flowers and little girls holding them. And you're like, oh. So yes. So yeah, you do have to be careful when we're looking at those. But yes, I know I derailed that question. But yes, in the movies, there's like some partial truth to what some of the witchcraft movies show, but it's not 100%. A lot of times they don't do the right deities. Like in The Craft, there's not even a Manu, if that's how it was pronounced. I've seen that so many times, I should be pronouncing it right.
So it's like, who?
Yeah. Like, yeah. Because it's like, when you watch it and you don't know, you're like, oh, cool, and then when you're like, okay. Some of the stuff they did in that movie was embellished accuracy. Same thing with practical magic. Practical magic was a little bit more closely related, like some of the stuff. I don't believe they had a star on the ground when they were trying to exorcise the boyfriend from Nicole Kidman. I can't remember. I should know because I've seen that movie so many times. But like when we look at like Sabrina, like the new Sabrina, the one that was out when I was a kid really was not that cool. I'm sorry. It really was. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't get into it. But Charmed, I mean, they have made all of the dark goddesses like evil.
Stereotypes.
Yeah. And it's like, nah, that's not how they really are. So yeah, you do have to kind of watch, those shows with a grain of salt. Like I still like Charmed, but yes, it's quite far from accurate. So, but I mean, they are taking like scrying. Scrying is a thing, just not the way they do it. So, a lot of this stuff and, I do this, but nothing happens. And when I do this, nothing happens. So I don't know, Brent, does that happen?
Oh, but even then, it does kind of show in a way like, how am I going to word this? Even though it's not exact, like what they're showing isn't exactly how it's done, but what they're doing is they're kind of glorifying the whole practice as a whole while showing it that way because it shows that with that potential, even though it is a little bit over the top, it does show if you have enough like willpower and belief behind what you're doing, you can actually cause something to happen.
Yeah. Well, and they have to show, like, we see those shifts suddenly. We know how to shift and heal. Um, we know how to shift and change good luck to bad luck or bad luck to good luck. We know how to do that. And you can't just like, I mean, ours are subtle changes and they might happen over weeks or months where you can't show that in a movie and have people be like, oh, I love this movie. Oh, they they put this protection spell on their house and now no one bad comes. The Jehovah's Witnesses stopped coming by their house. No, it doesn't. Yeah, the life of a real witch might not be as entertaining as Hollywood. So I don't know anything else on Hollywood, Bren.
If anything, I'm just like, oh, thank goodness it isn't like that because it's just like, because you have so many people thinking that if it would be like that, now you're having people just coming in and just completely giving the whole practice a disgrace because they think, oh, if I just move my hands around going woobity wobbity wooba, something will happen. No,
Yeah.
not most of the time. Like a good 95%, not really would happen. But heck, you never know.
I mean, you can do hand gestures to bring healing and stuff, but it's
Huh?
not.
Yeah, it's not like okay, I just did a certain press of the thumb and then the press of the thumb, or the thumb and like the index finger, and now all of a sudden I feel better
Yeah.
instantly. Like seriously, boop, just a tap. No, come on.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So that was kind of fun. See, it's fun to get a little derailed, but yeah, I mean, if somebody's like reading this and going, "Oh, is it a circle like Hollywood?" Yeah, it is a little different. Um, okay. So, how can one purify themselves before entering a ritual? So this is before entering the circle, before the circle is cast. And there are so many ways, but Bren, I'll let you share.
Okay, well, probably the one that is the most well known is taking a cleansing bath. That's probably the most well known one. Another way you can go about it is to purify your auric field with using sound. Another route you can go with is pretty much completely rubbing yourself down with a stone that is meant to take negativity or any kind of energetic influence off of you. For example, Shungite would be one. Shadow quartz would be another one. Trying to think if there's another one. I mean, you could get away with amethyst somewhat to an extent. But then there's also, of course, the smudging and using like a certain mixture of certain herbs. Like for example, for me, I like to use the mix of clary sage with hyssop. I like to see hyssop as like lavender's big brother. Has the same kind of has that effect of lavender, but it's more like serious. Like we're gonna make this peaceful rather than lavender's like, why don't we just all just be relaxed and chill? Hyssop, relax and chill.
Yeah, so I think you covered a lot. I like to sometimes meditate before, especially if it's going to be like a really big one and I'm leading. I definitely will go meditate away from everybody. Um, and she did talk about the saltwater purification. She does give an exercise for saltwater purification. She does also talk about the cleansing bath. And she did say, it's better to bathe before, if everybody can bathe at their own houses. And like, as she's saying that, I'm like, what, have you done one where everybody's bathing together? I mean, like, what? So who knows? I'm sure that has happened. I wouldn't be surprised if like Aleister Crowley did something like that.
Mr. Crowley, so brilliant, but not the most recommended and most ideal thing to do.
Yeah. I mean, he did some off the wall stuff, but, he added a lot to our community. So, we're thankful for him. So, and I want to thank everybody for the hearts. Let's see if we can get to 10,000 again this week. So, yeah, so she did bring those up too. I've also done like where you put yourself in a violet ball of light or a white one. Those are the two kind of the most popular ones. Aligning your chakras. And Bren brought up the crystals too. So crystals are great for that. So I also, when I'm outside, I like to take my shoes off. I like to ground with the earth. Sometimes just walking barefoot on the ground, that just grounds you into the earth and also helps cleanse and balance you. So that's always like a plus to be able to do. So want to throw that out there. I didn't want to forget that, Bren. Okay, so the next one. What role do the elements play in casting of the circle?
Well, the best way to even say that is that each element... Okay, let's see. How am I going to say this without making it too complicated and too over fancy? Each element is linked to a certain, representation. For an example, you could even draw a circle by just having a certain color in a direction. You can have red in the south. You could have green in the north. You could have yellow in the west. Then you could have blue in the east. If we want to go out of that route. But if you want to go be extra fancy smanchy, you would be having it be... Okay, let's see here if I can get it right. You would have green to the east, you would have blue to the north, you would have red to the south, and then you would have yellow, or actually no, that would not be yellow, that would be white in the west. Yellow would be in the southwest area. Pinkish red would be in the southeast. Then at the northeast, that would be more of an aquatic green coloration. Then north would be blue, and then the northwest would be more of the Arctic blue. But that's coming from Vastu.
Yeah. So, and what is really amazing is when you look at tribes around the world. So we know there were tribes in Europe, but we have had tribes in Asia and Middle East and Africa and South America and Central America and North America. Everybody has called on the elements. I mean, this goes deep and old. And the colors are different for different tribes. Even when you look at Native American tribes, their colors associated are completely different. Like Bren was bringing up, those are kind of the standard witchcraft colors.
Yeah, and I think, if I remember correctly, the color black for the Egyptians was the color of life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
You usually think that, wouldn't that be like white or pink or just something that's very like easygoing? No, because black was that color of like the soaked earth, and water to them was life.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. I just taught that in my color magic class that I just taught, because I do beginning witchcraft. Because I was talking about how black, in the Western world is associated with like attending wakes, where in Egypt it was the color of life. So, there we go.
Because with black,
Me and my husband love wearing black so much. You know what? Me and my husband wear black a lot. Like today is a day. I actually had a black shirt on earlier, but spilled something on it. So I'm good at that. I'm good at spilling. But yes, I usually wear black all the time myself. So yes, and black is also for protection. Black is an amazing, like there's a lot we can do with black as a color. As a matter of fact, when I teach my color class, I'm like, you know what, have a lot of black and have a lot of white, because they're kind of our go-to colors when we do color magic.
Yeah, and both of them, both black and white, they're colors of absorption, but they handle it in two completely different ways. Like for example, the color black absorbs and consumes, while the color white absorbs and then dilutes.
Yes. Yes. But the elements, they can ground us and anchor us. They also have a way of enhancing energy. And I know, like, I talk like this normally, but when I am in ritual, especially in the house, my husband will be like, I could hear you through my headphones, because he plays Xbox. That's his thing. And I'll be in ritual down here. And so he's upstairs right above me. I like the minute I start calling the elements, my voice rises and gets very theatrical. And it's because it's like, I'm calling them. It's like, I have this appreciation for you. Come on, fire. Come on, air. Come on. It's like, come on, earth, and come on, water. I get really excited about it. And it just enhances my energy personally. So it does create a very high energy field when we are calling on them. So, all right, we're going to jump to our next question. What is the importance of visualization during casting a circle? And I want to just say visualization does not just mean that we need to have it for casting a circle. We use visualization as witches and pagans a lot in our spiritual practice. So, we have put some of that special sound-defying foam on your ceiling. I should, Chaos, but we are, like I just announced earlier this week, we are preparing to move across the country in the United States. We're going back to the mountains. So, yeah, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'll worry about it when we get to our new place, though. And maybe I'll make sure I'm not right below him, because I like the basement. But okay, Bren, we'll go back to the importance of visualization during casting a circle.
Well, I mean, like what I said before, when you're visualizing that circle around you, it doesn't really matter what happens, because to you, that circle will still be up until you close it. You can have anything go on around you, but that circle isn't gone because you're the only one aware of it, and it's only affecting you. That's really it. Keep it simple.
Yes. I think that, she talks about that the visualization amplifies the ritual, and I think it does. And like, I honestly, when I'm calling on the cardinal directions, when I'm calling on the elements, I envision fire. I envision earth. Like, I have like just that vision in my mind. So I see them coming to me in their form. And so it's like they're there with me, as if they are a spirit. They are a spirit of place. So she also talks about like when the priestess and the coveners are encouraged to mentally picture the boundaries of the circle that's cast, that the energy increases and it allows the inner power to resonate and create an energy field. So, and she does talk about that. And, if you haven't read this book, like Starhawk her words flow. Her and Scott Cunningham, they have like this way to write prose that it's almost poetic, so it's kind of fun. So I'll hold up the book one more time just for those, because I know we have people coming and going. So we're doing The Spiral Dance by Starhawk. We're just on chapter 4. There's 13 chapters in this book. So we have a couple more weeks before we're done, because we do a chapter a week. All right. The next, most of these are on actually just the circle. She does talk about magical tools. Like there's a little bit about it, about how we should charge them and if you should use someone else's. So Bren, I'm going to let you kind of address that. What are your thoughts? And then I'm going to share my thoughts.
Well, should you use somebody else's tools? Nope. because the minute that you touch somebody else's sacred tool, you've infected it with your energy, and then they have to cleanse it all and rededicate it all over again. There is a reason why. I mean, I've set this example before. That time with the beautiful poking apparatus that I got for Hell, dedicated to her. Yep, and whenever it's not in use, it's also covered in this black cloth, so that way it keeps its energy contained with it. But when somebody just waltzed in and was like, "Oh man, that looks cool. Let me look at it." No, don't touch it. Don't touch it. But he didn't listen. He started like pretending like he was cutting something in the air, like a dim-witted twat he was. He puts it back. As soon as he walks out the room door, he face plants right on the tile. What the heck, man? I tripped. I told you, don't touch it.
Yeah, unless you give permission, because I am a high priestess, I have my sacred tools that no one can touch at my house. But when I go do outside rituals, because I will have like the priestess and other people who are training, I will let them touch the tools, but they were consecrated with the coven so that the coven can use them. But I literally have. And I don't have an athame for the coven to use. I don't there's certain things that I don't. But yes, my athame, no. Like I remember my husband's like, this is really cool because I have a Scottish one. My athame is Scottish. It's, so like I've got ancestors from Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and England, and of course the Germanic tribes. But I really wanted this Scottish athame. And, oh yeah, I was like, don't touch it.
Well, why not?
Like,
what back and
yeah. So yes, we get a little possessive of our our we don't want to reconsecrate. And see, I have when I go out of town, I will take I have my prayer beads, my pagan prayer beads, and I was going through one of TSA and they wanted to search my bag. I'm like, no, you can't touch those.
Yes, you can search it, but just do not touch the beads.
Yeah. Yes. And see, all mine are in a little bag. So I have them all in a little bag, especially when I go through TSA. So when you pull them out, they've already been consecrated and touched by me, but no, TSA, don't touch them.
Yep, and I mean, I think also in a manner too, I can't remember, and even then, because I mean, don't get me wrong, I know and I completely understand if there's if it's something legal, but if you have something and you're letting them know that okay, all that's going to be in there when you're looking is just these, please try your best to avoid touching them. But then again, knowing them, they would just be like, well, we're just going to touch whatever we're on. Okay, if you insist. Can't get mad at me if some oopsie-doopsie happens to you,
Yeah, I only had, one time my bag had to be searched. And you know what it was? I set off because I had taken my tin. I had this one, and then I had my Lenormand that were in a tin, and the tin set off the security.
Oh,
So they wanted to search my bag because I always have a Lenormand card. I usually have an Oracle deck and a Tarot deck whenever I go anywhere because I pull cards for myself every morning. And so now I don't travel with the tins because the tins are a little smaller. So now I travel with sets like this.
Oh, yeah, the little ones.
Yeah, the little ones. And the guy's like, you must be a witch. I'm like, is it that obvious? Oh, yes. Yeah, I
you must be a witch. Oh, you don't say. You don't say.
I was like, as soon as they grabbed my bag, I'm like, please, please, please do not touch that. It is sacred. It is spiritual. It is religious emblem.
Yep.
And he's like, okay. And his supervisor was right by him. And he's like, hand it to her and she can show us. And so I was able to open it and show them, and they're like, "Oh, it's a rosary." I'm like, "Okay, if that's what you want to call it." I mean, it's more like, well, this one does look more like a rosary, but it was actually my mallet beads.
Mm-hmm.
But I was just like, please,
Yeah,
please,
don't touch.
because we had flown to Vegas and we were flying to our second destination. So I didn't have everything to cleanse things with, and I knew my husband would be like, "If I've got to go to a witchcraft store," So I'm sitting there, no. Luckily, my brother had sage at his house, so I did sage my tarot decks. But yes. So just don't take tin through your tin tarot decks through TSA. You'll be fine. Yeah, so she does talk about if you do have the coven, using coven tools, that's okay, and it is okay. I know we had somebody in the coven who was kind of toxic, and I re-cleansed all of my tools after that person decided not to come anymore, because I was kind of glad, because but there's reasons we don't want it, and my husband, he's caught on. He's like, if it's a witchcraft thing, because I have a couple wood wands that, like, the first time he picked one up and I had to reconsecrate it, he was like, now he'll see, like, even if it's just a stick that I grabbed and I thought, "Ooh, I can do something cool with this stick," he doesn't touch them anymore. He's like, "Is that a stick or a wand?" I'm like, "I'll take care of it." So, all right. She does give a lot of exercises. So if you are reading the book, there are a lot of different exercises and meditations. So that's really good. What I liked about this chapter is she did give several examples on calling the guardians of the watchtowers. And some of them are really amazing. I'm going to read this one. So, Quicksilver messenger, master of the crossroads, springtime step lightly into my mind. Golden one whisper, airy fireman, sail from the east on the wings of the wind. So, that's just one little section, but yeah, she gave, I think, 4 or 5 different examples of calling on the guardians of the watchtower. She does hers. Air is east, fire is south, water is west, and north is earth. So you can actually, like, if you're like, oh, because, like, see, for me, I do fire in the east, so you can actually take them and just switch which direction you do it. So it's okay, because they're not mandatory. Now, the exercises are really cool because she does do some visualization exercises. Like, there's the circle visualization exercise to help you actually create a circle in your mind and visualize it. But even in the other chapters, she does a lot of exercises, and I would encourage you, like, test them out. Or if you read it and you're like, it doesn't resonate with me, it's fine. We don't have to, like, not everything's going to resonate. And that's the really neat thing about being a witch and being a pagan, is that we can take what resonates with us and use it. And if it doesn't resonate with us, we can just go, okay, I don't need to use it. Or, I kind of like it, but I'm probably not going to use it. I'll just mark it. Like, I'll usually, like, mark a page, or I'll put, like, a Post-it in the front of the book saying page da-da-da-da-da, this was interesting, just for future reference when I go to look at the book again. Bren, anything you want to add with that?
Nope, I think we got that one good.
Yeah. So I think the rest of this, like, there's like most of the questions I'd written down are all about, like, the circle. And so, the last 3 questions are still talking about circle casting. And I think we're okay to miss those. So I think this is, like, a really good book for somebody who's a beginner. I would still say read Scott Cunningham's book first and then go to Starhawk. I don't know, Bren, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree with that, because with Cunningham, he gives you the best foundation to start with if you're even just going to go into the whole field altogether. because the way he explains it, it just all makes sense. At least for me, that is.
Yeah, I mean, he really did a good job. It's still so sad that he passed at such a young age. I mean, it really is, because I think he made such a huge footprint for, well, I mean, he's a little older than I was. I mean, he would be probably right now, because he was what, 35, 36 when he passed in the mid 80s?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. So he would be probably in his late 60s, early 70s if he was still with us. But I mean, I think about like how many books he wrote. I mean, think about like how many more he could have, you know. But yes, I think he does give a good foundation. And actually, Starhawk even brought up a couple things, like when she was talking about consecrating tools and elements a little deeper. She even said that she wasn't going to go into it in depth because that's not what this book really was. Because this book is really starting to work with the goddess. So it is under the assumption that you already know a lot of the foundation. So I would really encourage, if you're new and you don't know a lot of the foundation, definitely pick up Scott Cunningham. And, you know, talk to witches. I mean, I teach beginning witchcraft, so I teach you those foundations over a year, because there's a lot you can't just do like a 1 hour class and learn them all. There's a lot to learn. And I know, like, I don't even, you know, I teach many classes, but there's a lot of other people out there that teach classes too. Brian, do you teach beginning classes? I can't remember.
Yes, I do. And
yes.
I mean, there's many things I know and many things I don't mind teaching at all. It's just not literally throw a fish at me, but you get the idea.
Yeah. So yes, so if I resonate or Bren resonates or both of us resonate, please feel free to reach out, because you can learn so much. And I encourage people, like, find as many teachers as you can. And when you're first starting out, sometimes it doesn't seem as easy, because it's like, well, where are they? Believe it or not, it's easier now to find people in the craft than it was 10 years ago or 20 years ago.
Even 20 years, actually, really, like, when I began studying in 2010, I mean, YouTube barely, like, it only had like 10 people on it back then.
Yeah, there's a lot more of us now, which is great, because I think we can learn so much from a lot of people. I know, like, we don't have Azrael up tonight, but, like, you know, Azrael is a wealth of knowledge too when it comes to the practice and the craft. And so there's a lot of very beautiful people in our spiritual community here that we can learn from and we can expand on. Yes, Irish, he is. I will miss him when I move out of the area. So, because he's actually local. So, Azrael and I met for the first time. He joined one of my rituals. So it was really neat to actually, like, he's an amazing person in person. So he's amazing online, but yes. Okay. You're really close to us then. So we've got somebody in Indiana. I will be moving further away. So back to the mountains I go. I always said, when I left the mountains, I said, you can take the girl out of the mountains, but you can't take the mountain out of the girl. So, and yeah, like, my family was teasing me. They're like, if you don't have Tevas on, you've got hiking boots on. So I want to in my RV. Yes. I don't blame you. Yeah. So, and Bren, you've got mountains, so.
And a lot of dirt.
Yes, and we love that. Dirt and mountains that's what we need as witches. That's what some of us were born to hang with, the dirt and and mountains. So, wow, we kind of, this chapter was pretty fast. We'll be on chapter 5 next week, and it's the goddess. So we're diving in. It starts out with the charge of the goddess. So that was first brought to us by Doreen Valente, who is another great witch in the community, who made a huge impact when it was really difficult. Actually, it was before most countries got rid of the laws banning witchcraft. Not that you can really ban it because you could do it in your house and just not tell anybody, you know?
Yep, and even at that too, it's now, especially nowadays, trying to prove it in court. It's like, okay, well, so this person was doing witchcraft. Okay, where's your proof? Well, there was this, a jar full of things. Okay, but there's wax on it. So, where's your proof? That's it. A jar that is sealed with wax with things in it. That's witchcraft, huh?
Yeah. You know, the best is like, I had some really horrible neighbors. They've since moved. But I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm so sick of them. And my husband's like, what is she doing? I made a bunch of pentagrams out of different things like flowers and sticks. Made them all face their house. And I said, now they're going to leave us alone. And my husband's like, you think? And ironically enough, they moved 8 months later. So I took him down. Yes. Oh, the best. Okay, I do have to tell this story. This is really super funny. So when I was in my old cult, the Jehovah's Witnesses would come by a lot. And so I just asked for one of their books and I gave it to the Jehovah's Witnesses. They didn't come by my house for a very, very, like probably 15 years. So they came by about, I think it's been 2 years now. And I was actually on the phone with my friend who's also a witch. I'm like, someone's knocking on my door. And she's on speakerphone. And I put her on the table by my door and I open the door and it's two women who are Jehovah's Witnesses. And I'm like, I am very happy with my spiritual practice. And I said, however, I am concerned about you being suppressed in your cult. They were like, it's not a cult. It's not.
Also, oh.
Yes. And I said, you know, my spiritual practice can help you get your empowerment back. I'm like, I am a witch. I'm a practicing witch. And okay, it was like a couple days after full moon. So we weren't even close to a moon ritual. But I said, we are having a sky-clad moon ritual this weekend, and we would love for you ladies to come join us. They were running so fast to get off my property. And my neighbor, so there were two men going door to door and the two women. So they were alternating and knocking on the next door. And my neighbor, he's like trying to like discuss with, he's atheist. So he's trying to like discuss with these men, like his little thing. And he like noticed that the women were barely at my door. So he comes over when they leave his house and we're laughing because they're at the other houses. And he's like, okay, how did you get rid of them? Because I know you're not in that church anymore. Because when I was in that other church, I had given them the book that I had given to the Jehovah's Witnesses so they could get rid of them too. I said, well, you know, I'm pagan now. He goes, yeah. And I'm like, I just invited him to to a nude full moon ritual that's not in existence. He's like, I'm using that next time. So now when they walk down our street, they skip his house and my house. Which is really funny. So yeah, just if they knock on your door, invite them, invite them to sky-clad moon ritual. So there's a little advice for everybody. I don't know if you have any advice, Brent, that you want to share.
I've actually recently I've had Jehovah. I mean, this is really ironically funny, but it wasn't the Jehovah's Witnesses; it was the Latter-day Saints.
That's my old church.
Well, it's so awkward because I mean I understood, but they tried knocking on my door and I unfortunately answered it, and then they were asking if I wanted to have a deeper relation to Christ or whomever, and I said, well, I'm pretty confident in my faith with Him and Father. And they said, you want to make it any more deeper? I'm like, no, I don't think I can get more devoted than being completely devoted. Then one of them, because I'm wearing Lilith's sigil around my neck, one of them just says, I really like that necklace around your neck. And I was about to say, you do realize whose symbol this is, right? But I didn't. I just let him I just took the compliment and just let him have his moment. Because, I mean, if I was to say, oh, I know, right? You just gave recognition to Lilith.
Well, and so that's the cult I came from. And so keep in mind, what's really sad is most of the time those are like 18, 19, and 20-year-old boys, sometimes girls. But here's a funny story for you. Okay, so I grew up in Utah, grew up Mormon. I was a Jack Mormon, which means I didn't participate 100%. I was like the one that was always getting in trouble because I was questioning things. So I go to my girlfriend's house, and her mom's Mormon too. And she's like, I saved you a necklace. So her mom would make extra money doing beaded necklaces, and she found some really cool beads of these really cool green leaf beads. And she's like, I took him. So it was a store that would buy crafts from the stay-home moms or the slightly working moms, and then they would sell them, and it was right by the temple where everybody goes, like, you know. And she pulls this necklace out, and we start laughing, and we're like, you took this where? And we're like, you know, that's a marijuana leaf. And this is back in the 80s, okay? So I'm aging myself, late 80s, but and she was like, she just turned white. And the next day, my girlfriend calls me, and she's like, my mom went down there. They sold all of the necklaces. And I was laughing even harder because I'm like, so there's all these Mormon women running around with marijuana leaves, and they don't know what they are.
And I mean, it's like, it's funny, and I... Good Lord.
Yeah, sorry. You never know what you'll get when you come here. So yeah, you know, Bren, my husband answered the door the last time because I left the church, but they won't like take me off their rolls. But the last time my husband's like, we're atheists, and he's like, she's not interested anymore. I mean, she hasn't come for over 15 years. You think she's gonna come again? That was probably like 5 years ago. So.
I mean, I've even thought of the idea of just like, if like for some reason if I was like put on a name thing or whatever, and they were like saying, oh, we're looking for whomever, I would just answer this door and just say, well, I hate to tell you this, but yeah, they kind of grab a bucket and kick it. So yeah, you can stop coming around here now.
Well, and it's funny because they try to, when you are in that church, they do try, like for years, like they would call me instead of my mom to get all my siblings' phone numbers. And like none of us are in the church anymore. And I'd be like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And my daughter called me. She's like, they called me wanting your phone number. I'm like, no. Because they try to bring me back into the fold. And I'm like, nah, I'm good.
Nobody's got time for that.
I don't want to debate all the time. Sorry. Now that I've been spiritually awakened, I know a little bit more, and I know what would happen. I was debating then, and now I'll debate more. So next week we will do chapter 5 of the Spiral Dance, and again, it's on the goddess. So now we're really getting it. Like, she kind of built up the foundation to get us up there, and now we're going to start getting into the core, which is really great. We will be here on Tuesday for Tuesday Tarot, and we are doing. Oh wait, let's see. Thank you. All of a sudden I was like, wait, which card did we just do? We did the Magician, so we will be doing High Priestess this week. Yay, High Priestess. Mm-hmm. So please join us for that. And then after we talk about the High Priestess, we will be doing 1 card tarot or oracle card readings. But you actually get 2 cards because you get me and Bren. And if Azriel joins, you will get an additional one. So always fun. So we're live here Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oh, we have a birthday coming up. Ooh, how awesome.
Soon to be birthday to them.
How wonderful. Happy birthday early. So, birthdays are fun. They really are. So yeah, so please feel free to join. Thank you everybody for the hearts. We didn't get to 10,000 tonight, but that's okay. We'll aim for that on Tuesday. So come ready to give some love, and thank you to everybody who gave us gifts. We really appreciate it. Always appreciated, never expected. Bren, any last words before you say farewell?
Yeah, yep. But we all know where this is gonna go. So long, farewell. What the heck is that? Next line in the lyrics. Never mind, forget it.
I just thought of one. Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. From Jaws. You know, when they're in the boat and the shark. I don't know why it just came to mind. Oh, it's a goofy night here. So thank you everybody who joined. Always appreciate that you come and share with us, and we will hopefully see you on Tuesday. As always, merry meet, merry part, bright blessings, and namaste.